Malik Johnson sat at the edge of his bed, the soft morning light filtering through the window, casting a warm glow across his room. His heart raced as he reviewed the acceptance letter from Crestwood University for what felt like the 100th time. The prestigious scholarship was a testament to his hard work, determination, and unwavering commitment to his studies. He could already envision himself walking through the ivy-covered campus, a place where dreams could take flight. "Malik, breakfast is ready." Angela Johnson's voice called from the kitchen, pulling him from his daydream. His mother, a single parent, had sacrificed so much to provide Malik with the opportunities she never had. She had worked double shifts, often coming home exhausted but proud, always reminding him that education was his pathway to a better life. Malik could still hear her words echoing in his mind. "You have to work twice as hard, son. The world won't always be fair." He made his way to the kitchen, where Angela stood over the stove, flipping pancakes. The aroma filled the air, a comforting reminder of the love that infused their home. "Look at you, my little scholar," she said, her smile radiant. "I can barely keep up with you. You're going to make waves at Crestwood. I just know it." "Thanks, Mom," Malik replied, his voice a mix of excitement and anxiety. "I still can't believe I got in. It's what we've been working for." As they sat down to breakfast, the conversation flowed easily. Angela reminisced about her own high school days, sharing stories of her dreams and the challenges she faced. Malik listened intently, his heart swelling with admiration. "You've always been my inspiration, Mom. I want to make you proud." After breakfast, Malik grabbed his backpack and headed to school, the weight of his textbooks a reminder of the day ahead. The halls of Lincoln High buzzed with the chatter of students, but Malik's mind was focused on the upcoming exam that could solidify his academic standing. He was determined to perform well, not just for himself, but for all the sacrifices his mother had made. As he settled into his seat in the classroom, he felt a tap on his shoulder. It was Jake Thompson, a classmate he had known since freshman year. Malik respected Jake's intelligence, but he sensed something off about him today. Leaning closer, Jake whispered, "Hey Malik, you hear the rumors going around? Someone's planning to cheat on the exam. You should watch your back." Malik frowned, brushing off Jake's words. "I'm just going to focus on my test. I can't worry about what others are doing," he replied, feeling a mix of annoyance and concern. The integrity of his hard work meant everything to him, and he wouldn't let anyone else's actions tarnish that. Jake shrugged, a smirk lingering on his lips, and returned to his seat. The exam began, and Malik's pencil flew across the paper as he poured his knowledge onto the pages. He felt confident, his mind clear and focused. But as the clock ticked down, he couldn't shake the nagging feeling that Jake's warning had unsettled him more than he wanted to admit. When the exam was over, Malik felt a wave of relief wash over him. He gathered his things and headed to his locker, thoughts still racing about the scholarship and his future. But as he rounded the corner, his heart sank when he was called into Principal Harris's office. The principal's stern expression immediately put Malik on edge. "Mr. Johnson," Principal Harris began, his voice grave. "We need to talk about the exam." Malik's stomach dropped. "What about it?" he asked, trying to mask his anxiety. "Several reports have come in alleging that you were involved in cheating during the test," Principal Harris stated flatly, piercing Malik with a gaze that felt both accusatory and disbelieving. "We have reason to believe you've compromised the integrity of this exam." "Cheating? That's ridiculous. I didn't do anything wrong," Malik exclaimed, his voice rising in disbelief. "I studied hard for this test. I'd never cheat." The principal leaned back in his chair, crossing his arms. "I understand your position, but the allegations are serious, and we must investigate. For now, I need you to stay here while we sort this out." Malik's mind raced, confusion and anger swirling within him. How could this be happening? He felt the walls of the office closing in, the weight of the accusation pressing down on him like a suffocating blanket. This was not just about an exam anymore. It was about his future, his dreams, and the very essence of who he was. As he stood there, heart pounding, Malik realized that this was only the beginning of a fight he never anticipated. As the sun dipped low in the sky, casting a warm orange glow over the schoolyard, Malik sat on a bench, his heart heavy with the weight of the accusation that had turned his world upside down. The laughter and chatter of students around him felt distant, like echoes from another life. He could see Sarah and Jamal approaching, their expressions serious but determined. "Hey, Malik," Sarah said, her voice steady yet filled with empathy. "We're not going to let them do this to you. We're going to figure this out." Malik looked up, his eyes reflecting a mix of gratitude and despair. "I don't know how, Sarah. Everyone's turned against me. It feels like I'm fighting alone." Jamal, who had been silent until now, leaned forward with a fierce determination. "You're not alone. We're with you. We'll talk to everyone in the class, find out who spread those rumors. Someone has to know something." With a nod, Malik felt a flicker of hope rekindle within him. "All right, let's start with the people who sat near me during the exam. Maybe they saw something." The trio spent the next hour moving through the crowded hallways, as Malik's former friends avoided eye contact and whispered behind his back. Each step felt heavier than the last, but Malik kept his head high, driven by the loyalty of his friends. They approached a group of students gathered near the lockers, where Jamal stepped up, his voice steady. "Hey guys, can we ask you a quick question about the exam?" A girl named Lisa, who had once been friendly with Malik, turned to face them, her expression cold. "What's there to talk about? Everyone knows Malik cheated." Malik felt a sting in his chest. "That's not true. I didn't cheat. I want to know who said that." Lisa shrugged dismissively. "Does it really matter? You're already labeled. Just accept it." "Wait," Sarah interjected, her voice rising slightly. "You can't just accept what everyone says. What if someone is trying to frame him? You don't know what really happened." The group exchanged glances, but the moment of solidarity was fleeting. They quickly dispersed, leaving Malik feeling more isolated than before. Later, as they regrouped at the local coffee shop, Malik slumped into a chair, his frustration palpable. "It's like I'm invisible. No one wants to listen. They've made up their minds already." Jamal leaned in, his eyes fierce. "But we're not giving up. It's clear there's a pattern here. Let's dig deeper. If there's been discrimination against other students, then this isn't just about you anymore. It's bigger." Sarah nodded in agreement. "We need to find out if this has happened to anyone else. We'll talk to students, check online forums. There must be something we can use." As they brainstormed, Sarah suddenly recalled something. "I remember hearing rumors even before the exam about other students being accused of cheating. They were all black students. It's almost like there's a system in place that they don't want to address." Malik's heart raced at the realization. "You mean this isn't just about me? There's a larger issue at play?" "Exactly," Sarah said, her voice rising with excitement. "We need to gather evidence. If we can show a pattern, we can challenge the school's bias and make them listen." Jamal grinned, his enthusiasm infectious. "Let's create a list of everyone we can find who's faced similar accusations. We'll document everything, dates, names, and what happened." That night, Malik couldn't sleep. His mind raced with thoughts of the injustices not only he faced, but the possibility of a widespread issue that needed to be addressed. The next day, they began their investigation, interviewing classmates and gathering information. Each story they uncovered painted a bleak picture of a school that failed to protect its marginalized students. As the days passed, Malik felt the burden of the accusation transform into a sense of purpose. He was no longer just a victim. He was part of a movement to bring change. With Sarah and Jamal by his side, he began to see a glimmer of hope at the end of the tunnel. They would fight not just for his name, but for justice for all those who had been silenced. "Together, we can make them see the truth," Malik said, determination etched on his face. "We won't let this go unnoticed." Malik stood outside Principal Harris's office, his heart racing as he prepared to confront the man who had unjustly accused him. He took a deep breath, steadying himself before pushing the door open. The principal's office was stark and intimidating, with dark wood furniture and a large desk that seemed to loom over him. Principal Harris looked up from his paperwork, his expression unreadable. "Malik," Harris said, with a hint of annoyance in his voice. "What can I do for you?" Malik clenched his fists, drawing on the strength of his friends and family. "I need to talk to you about the cheating accusation," he stated, trying to keep his voice steady. "I want to understand why you didn't consider my side of the story." Harris leaned back in his chair, crossing his arms. You were caught in an unfortunate situation. The evidence was compelling. Compelling? I didn't cheat, Malik shot back, his frustration bubbling to the surface. And you know it. You didn't even look into the possibility that someone else set me up. The principal's brow furrowed, his lips pursed. You need to understand that we have protocols to follow. I have to protect the integrity of this school. Malik's anger surged. Protecting the integrity of the school should include protecting students too. I'm being targeted because of who I am. This isn't just about me. It's about the systemic bias that happens here. How can you not see that? Harris's expression hardened. You're being emotional, Malik. We all face challenges. It's part of growing up. Emotional? Malik echoed, incredulous. This is my future we're talking about. You're dismissing my concerns as if they're not valid. I thought you were supposed to support your students, not silence them. Enough, Harris snapped, his voice rising. You need to focus on your studies and stop making this into a bigger issue than it is. Malik turned on his heel, the conversation fueling his determination to fight back against the injustice he faced. As he stepped into the hallway, he spotted Sarah and Jamal waiting for him, their expressions filled with concern. How did it go? Sarah asked, her voice laced with apprehension. Not great, Malik admitted, running a hand through his hair. He's not listening. He's too focused on maintaining his authority to actually help. Jamal frowned, crossing his arms. We need to gather evidence. There have to be other students who've faced similar accusations. This isn't just about you, Malik. It's about all of us. Malik nodded, a sense of purpose igniting within him. You're right. Let's start documenting everything we can find. We need to present a solid case to the school board. The trio spent the next few days conducting interviews and gathering stories from other students who had faced unfair treatment. They compiled a list of incidents, each one more disheartening than the last. Malik felt a sense of camaraderie with his peers, their shared experiences knitting them closer together. One afternoon, as they gathered in Sarah's living room, she excitedly waved a paper in the air. Look at this. I found a pattern of discrimination against black students at our school. It's not just isolated incidents. It's a systemic issue. Malik leaned over to read the document, his heart racing. We have to include this in our presentation. This is bigger than I thought. Jamal nodded, his face serious. We need to make sure the school board understands the extent of this problem. If we can expose this, maybe we can create real change. That evening, Malik returned home, feeling a mix of exhaustion and determination. He found his mother, Angela, in the kitchen, preparing dinner. The aroma of spices filled the air, but Malik's heart was heavy. Hey, Mom, he started, his voice unsteady. Can we talk? Angela turned, concern etched on her face. Of course, sweetheart. What's on your mind? Malik hesitated, trying to find the right words. I'm fighting against this accusation, but it feels like I'm fighting against something much bigger. I am scared, Mom. She set down the spoon and walked over to him, taking his hands in hers. I know it's hard, Malik. I faced my own battles when I was your age. There were times I felt so small against the system, but you have to remember that your voice matters. What if I lose? What if they don't believe me? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Then you keep fighting, Angela said firmly. You are stronger than you know. I believe in you, and you have friends who support you. This journey is about more than just your reputation. It's about standing up for what's right. Malik's heart swelled with gratitude. Thanks, Mom. I'll keep pushing forward. I won't back down. Angela smiled softly, pulling him into a warm embrace. That's my boy. Remember, resilience is not just about enduring. It's about rising up when you're knocked down. You're not alone in this fight. Malik stood at the front of the student council meeting, his heart pounding in his chest. The room was filled with murmurs and whispers, students exchanging skeptical glances. He had gathered his friends, Sarah and Jamal, who flanked him, their presence offering a semblance of strength. The walls seemed to close in, and he could feel the weight of the accusations still hanging over him like a storm cloud. Thank you all for coming, Malik began, his voice steady despite the nerves. We're here to talk about something important, something that affects not just me but many students in this school. The council members, a mix of senior students, looked at him with a mix of curiosity and caution. One of them, a girl named Emily, leaned forward in her chair. "We're listening, Malik, but you have to understand, this is a sensitive topic. Accusations of cheating are serious." Malik nodded. "I understand that. But what's more serious is the pattern of discrimination that's been happening here. I was accused of cheating, but it's not just me. We've found other students, black students, who face similar accusations without any solid proof. It's as if there's a bias against us." Jamal chimed in, his voice passionate. "We've been gathering evidence, documenting how many of us have been treated unfairly. This isn't just about one exam. It's about a culture of distrust and bias that needs to change." Another council member, Jason, raised an eyebrow. "But what can we do? We're just students. The administration is the one that needs to handle this." "Exactly," Sarah interjected. "But you have the power to bring this to their attention. You can help us advocate for a fair investigation and support our efforts to create a more inclusive environment." The council members exchanged uncertain glances, and Malik felt a knot tighten in his stomach. He wanted so desperately for them to understand, to believe him. "We're not asking for special treatment," he pressed on. "We just want to ensure that every student is treated fairly, regardless of their background. We want to work together to change the culture here." There was a moment of silence, and Malik could see the wheels turning in their heads. Finally, Emily spoke up again. "We appreciate your passion, Malik. I think we need to discuss this further before making any decisions. It's a lot to take in." As the meeting wrapped up, Malik felt a mix of hope and frustration. They had shown interest, but their hesitation stung. He turned to Sarah and Jamal, who were looking just as defeated. "Do you think they'll actually do anything?" Jamal asked, crossing his arms. "I don't know," Malik admitted, glancing back at the council. "But we can't give up. We have to keep pushing." Later that evening, as Malik sat in his room, scrolling through his messages, an anonymous text caught his eye. It read, "Jake has something to do with your situation. You should confront him." Malik's heart raced. Could it be true? Jake had always been around, but he had been a classmate and a friend. Or at least he thought so. "Hey, I just got a weird text," Malik said, calling Sarah and Jamal. "It says Jake might be involved in all this." "What do you mean?" Sarah asked, her brow furrowing. "It's suggesting he's behind the rumors that led to my accusation. What if he's been playing both sides?" Malik's voice was laced with urgency. Jamal frowned. "Do you think it's worth looking into?" "Yes. I need to know if he's been spreading lies about me. If he is, I need to confront him," Malik decided, his determination flaring. The next day, Malik approached Jake in the hallway, his stomach in knots. "Hey, can we talk?" he asked, holding back a mix of anger and confusion. Jake looked up, surprise etched across his face. "Sure. What's up?" Malik took a deep breath, steadying himself. "I received a tip that you might be involved in the rumors about me cheating. Is that true?" Jake's expression shifted from surprise to defensiveness. "What? That's ridiculous. I didn't do anything. Then why has everyone been saying you were the one who started it?" Malik pressed, refusing to back down. "Fine, maybe I said something just joking around. I didn't think it would blow up like this," Jake admitted, running a hand through his hair. "I was just jealous, okay? You're always at the top, Malik. I thought if I brought you down a peg, maybe it would make me look better." Malik's heart sank at Jake's confession. "So you admit you were part of it, but you didn't formally accuse me? You don't get how serious this is, do you?" Jake shrugged, his eyes flickering with guilt. "I didn't mean for it to go this far. I thought it was just harmless fun." As they stood in the bustling hallway, Malik felt a wave of disappointment wash over him. "You need to understand the consequences of your actions. This isn't just about you and me. It's about a system that's already stacked against students like me." Jake looked away, shame creeping into his posture. "I didn't see it that way. I'm sorry. Okay. I never wanted it to become something so big." Malik shook his head, feeling the weight of the situation settle in. "You need to take responsibility for what you've done. I can't fight this battle alone." Malik sat in his room, a whirlwind of thoughts racing through his mind. The walls, adorned with posters of scientists and activists, felt more like a cage than a sanctuary. He glanced at his phone, its screen illuminating with notifications from the social media campaign he and his friends had launched. The hashtag Justice for Malik was trending within their school community, and he felt a mix of relief and anxiety. "Dude, we're actually getting somewhere?" Jamal exclaimed, bursting into the room without knocking. His excitement was infectious, but Malik couldn't shake the knot in his stomach. "Yeah, but what if it backfires?" Malik replied, running a hand through his hair. "What if the school board ignores all of this?" Jamal leaned against the desk, crossing his arms. "We've got tons of support now. Look at the comments. People are sharing their own stories. It's not just about you anymore. It's about all the students who've been treated unfairly." Malik nodded, appreciating Jamal's optimism. Sarah had been the driving force behind their social media strategy, crafting posts that highlighted the systemic issues at their school and encouraging students to share their experiences. They had created a wave of solidarity that Malik never anticipated. Just then, his phone buzzed with a new notification. He picked it up, and his heart sank as he read the message. "Back off, or you'll regret it." The sender was unknown. Malik's hands trembled slightly as he showed the message to Jamal. "Who is this?" Jamal asked, his brow furrowing. "Do you think it's someone from school?" "I don't know," Malik replied, his voice barely above a whisper. "But it feels like a threat. What if they're serious?" "We can't let this scare us," Jamal said, his tone firm. "We're doing the right thing. You have to keep pushing forward." Malik appreciated Jamal's support, but fear gnawed at him. He glanced at the window, half expecting to see someone lurking outside. He took a deep breath, trying to quell the rising anxiety. That evening, as Malik sat at the dinner table with his mother, the weight of the day pressed down on him. Angela noticed his distracted demeanor. "Malik, honey, what's on your mind?" she asked, setting down a plate of food in front of him. He hesitated, unsure of how to articulate his fears. "I got a threatening message today," he finally admitted, his voice trembling. Angela's expression changed, a mix of concern and determination flashing in her eyes. "What did it say?" "Just that I should back off," Malik replied, pushing his food around on the plate. "I'm scared, Mom. What if they try to hurt me or mess with my future?" She reached over, taking his hand in hers. "Listen to me, Malik. You're fighting for what's right, and that's never easy. But you have to remember that you're not alone. You have your friends, and you have me. We'll get through this together." Her words offered him a semblance of comfort, but the anxiety lingered like a shadow. The next day, the atmosphere at school was electric. Students were buzzing with anticipation as the news about the school board's decision to investigate spread like wildfire. Malik, however, found it hard to focus on the growing support. As he walked through the halls, he could feel the stares of some of his former friends, their expressions a mix of curiosity and judgment. He overheard snippets of conversations, whispers about his situation, some supportive, others laced with skepticism. "Can you believe he's making such a big deal out of it?" a girl remarked, her voice dripping with disdain. "Yeah, he probably did cheat," her friend replied, rolling her eyes. Malik's heart sank. The support he had garnered felt fragile, and the threats loomed larger in his mind. He found solace in the company of Sarah and Jamal during lunch, their laughter momentarily easing his worries. "I've been thinking," Sarah said, her voice softening as she leaned in. "What if we organize a rally? Show the board that we're united and that this isn't just about you. It's about all of us." Malik's eyes lit up at the idea, the spark of hope igniting again. "A rally could really send a message," he said, feeling the adrenaline rush through him. "Let's do it," Jamal said, his voice filled with determination. "We'll make sure everyone knows that we won't back down." As they planned the rally, Malik felt a renewed sense of purpose. The threats may have escalated, but so had their resolve. Together, they would stand against the odds, not just for Malik, but for every student who had ever felt marginalized. And with that, Malik realized that he was ready to face whatever came next, no matter the cost. As the hearing commenced, the atmosphere in the school auditorium was thick with tension. Malik Johnson stood before the panel of school administrators, his heart racing as he prepared to present his evidence. Rows of students filled the seats, their eyes fixed on him. A mixture of hope and anxiety reflected on their faces. Malik cleared his throat, feeling the weight of their expectations. "Thank you for allowing me to speak today," he began, his voice steady despite the fluttering in his chest. "I stand here not just for myself, but for every student who has faced discrimination and injustice within these walls." He glanced over at Sarah and Jamal, who sat in the front row, their expression supportive. "I have gathered evidence that shows a pattern of unfair treatment towards black students in our school." As Malik detailed his findings, he highlighted the testimonials from his classmates, the instances of biased actions from teachers, and the silence that followed each accusation. "This isn't just about me being accused of cheating. It's about a system that has failed so many of us. I have the support of my peers, and we demand to be heard." Whispers rippled through the audience. Malik could see some of his former friends shifting uncomfortably in their seats, their guilt evident. He pressed on, his passion igniting the room. "We deserve a fair chance. We deserve to be treated with respect. And we deserve justice." Just as Malik thought he was gaining traction, a murmur from the back of the room caught his attention. The panel exchanged uneasy glances. Malik's heart sank as he sensed the tides turning against him, the weight of doubt creeping back in. But then, unexpectedly, a figure stepped forward. It was Jake's older brother, Tyler, a senior known for his quiet demeanor. "Wait!" Tyler called out, his voice cutting through the murmurs. The room fell silent as he made his way to the front, a determined look in his eyes. "I have something to say." Malik blinked in surprise, unsure of what to expect. Tyler cleared his throat, glancing nervously at the panel. "I'm here to testify about my brother Jake." The words hung in the air, and Malik felt a flicker of hope. "I've seen how jealous he was of Malik's success," Tyler continued, his voice growing stronger. "He didn't just spread rumors. He orchestrated this whole thing because he couldn't stand that someone like Malik was achieving what he never could. He wanted to bring him down." Gasps filled the auditorium. Malik's heart raced as he locked eyes with Tyler, who looked resolute. "I've watched him lie and manipulate things to make Malik look guilty. I can't stand by and let my brother ruin someone's life. It's wrong." Principal Harris's expression darkened, and Malik could see the tension rising within the panel. "This is a serious accusation," Harris finally spoke, his tone defensive. "Are you suggesting that Jake acted alone?" Tyler shook his head. "No. Jake's actions were influenced by the environment here. The way students like Malik are treated. I know Jake felt pressure to conform, to fit in with a crowd that believes in tearing others down. But that doesn't excuse what he did." Malik's breath caught in his throat. Could this really be happening? The truth was finally surfacing, and he could feel a glimmer of hope emerge from the chaos. The panel exchanged heated whispers, and for the first time, they looked unsure of themselves. "Principal Harris," Malik interjected, his voice firm. "You knew about Jake's actions, didn't you? You chose to protect him because of his family's influence instead of standing up for what's right. This isn't just about Jake, it's about the systemic issues in our school." He felt a surge of strength, bolstered by Tyler's revelation. Harris shifted uncomfortably, the facade of authority beginning to crack. No more excuses," Malik insisted. "We need accountability. If we want to change the culture here, it starts with you taking responsibility for your role in this." The room was silent, the weight of Malik's words hanging heavily in the air. Finally, the panel members nodded slowly, a shift in their demeanor evident. They had been faced with undeniable truth, and Malik could see the acceptance dawning on their faces. As the hearing concluded, Malik felt an overwhelming sense of relief wash over him. The truth had emerged, and justice was finally within reach. He glanced at Sarah and Jamal, who flashed him proud smiles. Tyler walked over, a look of respect in his eyes. "Thanks for standing up," Malik said, extending his hand. Tyler shook it firmly. "I never thought I'd see the day." "Neither did I," Tyler admitted, a hint of a smile breaking through. "But it was time someone did." Malik left the auditorium that day feeling not just exonerated but empowered. The fight was not over, but he knew they had sparked a change, a beacon of hope for everyone facing similar injustices. The road ahead would be challenging, but together, they would continue to challenge the system and inspire others to do the same.